Welcome to the Encouragement Engineering Podcast. We help people to combat the negativity that inundates our daily lives with a positive perspective and positive action. Today's guest is Joe Martin. Joe is a best-selling author, award-winning business owner, podcast host of the Relentless Positivity Podcast, and a sought-after speaker. He started his business, Huntsville Adventure Boot Camp for Women, in 2009 and has helped thousands of women look, feel, and perform their best through his exercise programs, nutrition coaching, and books. And he's also committed to making the world better physically and mentally. So please welcome to the show, Joe Martin. Joe, thank you for being here.
Thanks for inviting me, man. I'm excited to be here today.
Good.
With my twin over here. It's good to be on with your twin.
Yeah, for those of you that are listening and not seeing the video, check out the video. You'll see what we're talking about. So we'll just leave it at that. But as you can tell, Joe's got a little bit of energy. I love that. So, Joe, if we can, let's get right into it and tell people how you got to where you are today. Tell us about you and what made you do what you're doing today.
Sure. Yeah. So in high school, I was an athlete, mainly football, and I was an offensive lineman. So I was always trying to get bigger and faster and stronger. And I got 2 out of the 3. I got bigger and stronger, but mainly just bigger. I was pretty overweight because, that's kind of what the job required. So I was a big guy. I was 250 pounds, and I was one of the smallest guys out there. So, and then all of a sudden I found out I was injured. I was going to have surgery, be in a cast for 6 months. So the football career was over. So that was the end of that. So I had to make a decision, am I going to go creeping up towards 300 pounds or figure out how to lose this weight? And that's what I did. So thankfully, I figured that out. I lost weight. I felt great. And I was like, man, I would love to help other people do the same thing. So I went to school, thought I wanted to do physical therapy at first. And then there was this class called chemistry. I'm not sure if you've heard of it. Oh, man.
As an engineering major, I had that too.
Oh, yeah. You probably got through it, though. So what happened to me is I was in a class of 400 people, and I didn't know what was going on. I couldn't get help. There's 2 dry erase boards. He's covering up stuff I don't even know about. I didn't catch that the first time, so I'm completely lost. So I failed that so bad. This is how old, we probably are about the same age. I had to go through the book and look through the book and decide what does not have chemistry in it. And then so exercise physiology, there's no chemistry in there. Physics, I could understand. I got that one down. So I ended up getting an exercise physiology degree from Auburn University here in Alabama. And I got a job with the government right after that, working on Redstone Arsenal in Alabama, worked for MWR, which Morale, Welfare, Recreation. So we ran the fitness centers. We did the intramural sports for the troops and all that good stuff. So it's a great job, man. I worked with 18-year-old privates who couldn't pass their PT test, 82-year-old World War II veterans that could barely move, and everything in between, soldiers, civilians. So it was great getting to train all these different populations. And I was also working at one of the local hospitals, their gyms, and doing some private training as well. And I would do the orientation for women in the gym, and then they would come in, and I could just tell that, this isn't the place for me. I just don't feel comfortable here. This machine is built for guys. It's too big for me. I don't know what's going on with those weights and those dudes yelling and screaming over there. I don't know what that is. So I just decided to start a business on the side where women could have a place of their own, where they could come and sweat and smile and laugh together and have their own little tribe there. So I stole Starbucks thing. I wanted boot camp to be their third thing. There's home, there's work, and there's boot camp, right? So they can have that 1 hour of me time where they come and they take care of themselves, and they can just they don't have to worry about hair or makeup or, guys hitting on them, which can be an issue as well. Just come and get your workout and hang out with your friends. And that was 2009, and we've grown from there. I was able to quit the real job, so to speak, and go off my own, and it's been awesome ever since.
And that's important you saw that need. I think that's important. You brought up a good point there because, women, a lot of public gyms will go in and they'll get hit on, like you said, from the guys. Not the place to do it, guys. Okay. Right. Just people are there to get something done. Leave it alone. But that's a great segment you saw to bring, something just for women. Like you said, let your hair down, just be focused on them, because that's important for a lot of women to have that, if you will, me time. I know, as my wife with a mother of 3 boys, she needs that time to just, let it be. Stop.
Yeah. Like 90% of my clients are moms. They need that 1 hour. Like I said, they can come and they can turn their brain off and let their body do some work for, an hour. And then they feel so much better, and they can deal with the rigors of life after that. So, and then people like my mom who would, she'd never set foot in a gym, maybe she walk on a treadmill, but hey, she's been coming every day since 2009, 5:30 in the morning. Even when she retired as a teacher, she still comes to the 5:30 a.m. class because that's where her friends are,
Yeah.
So she built that bond with them, and she still comes to that early morning.
Good. It keeps you on track. Make sure you're there, right?
Oh yeah, and she keeps me from like a mutiny happening too, just in case they don't like the exercise that day. Like my mom's got my back, so she can help me out.
That's great. Well, that's very cool. Well, it's interesting too, because looking up, information about you and what you do have a TED Talk under your belt. And I want to let people know that, because I listened to that, and you've had some overcoming to do. And you mentioned a little bit of that. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Because what I saw was, something that was pretty big, that you turned yourself around into the positive manner. And if we can explain that to the audience, that'd be great.
Sure. Yeah. People kind of see where you are today, and they don't know where you've been. So, because people see me today, they figure I've never struggled with my weight, which I have, that I've always been a positive person, which I wasn't, that I've always been the healthiest person, and all these good things. That wasn't the case, So it was at one time in my life, after football was over and I was overweight and I had all these things going. I was going through a depression where I didn't want to get out of bed in the morning, and I kind of lost my identity. With when you're in high school, you think about I'm I'm in the band, or I do this, or I do that, or I'm a football player, which was I put all my eggs in that basket. And that was my identity. When that was gone, like, well, who am I? So I ended up getting in trouble and going to jail and getting on probation, and I'm overweight, and my grandmother died, my girlfriend broke up with me, even the family cat died. We had cats growing up. Someone left one on our front porch who raised cats. All these things are going bad, and that's all I focused on was these negative, and I'm overweight too, and that was a visual reminder every day that I was not the person that I was meant to be. I just looked up and I was like, man, I'm just not happy with this person right here. And I got to the point where I was suicidal because I was on probation. I didn't have a car. My mom had to drive me to the courthouse to go see a probation officer. I mean, that's pretty the height of Loserville right there. And I felt like that's what I felt like, that, man. And I'd can you please just drop me off a few blocks away and I'll walk, there, have your mom take you to probation. Come on, man. So, so I was on that walk that I was like, man, I was going to end it all. I couldn't do that anymore. But, I got to that point and I said, well, number one, I can't do that to my parents. And it is soaked in there. It wasn't really super tight with God, but it was in there. I grew up in church and I was a man of faith. And I said, well, once I took that off the table, then I figured, okay, well, I'm going to have to make this work. And I started, instead of focusing on all the negative things that had me tunnel vision, just looking at the negativity, I said, well, what's one positive thing? And I just started focusing on that and just, okay, well, I'm going to focus on this weight loss and start there and just expand out from there. It's amazing when your eyes are open, how many good things are in your life when you're not just tunnel vision and all the bad things. What you focus on grows, right? Yeah. So what I was focused on, man, it seemed like there was nothing good in my life. Yeah. And that happens to a lot of people, Yeah. So I was blessed enough to get out of that and dig myself out of that hole and get to where I am today. Because I was overweight. I wasn't a great student. I think I graduated with a 2.3 GPA. In high school, that's not that great. And then I literally did not know how to spell the word business. I thought you spelled it BUISNESS. Now, we mentioned in the beginning, I am from Alabama, so there is that. We're not known for our education. We're usually like 49 or 50, depending on what you're looking at. It was a public school. So when I got to college and I thought that word was busyness, So I didn't even know how to spell it. And, I've had a successful business for all these years now. So there's just an encouragement to people out there that, you aren't who you're meant to be. If you're down right now and you're not who you want to be, it doesn't have to be like that. You can always make a change.
And that's a great reminder for people, is we always have that ability to change anytime in our life. And what you see now is just a snapshot. Remember that. Yeah. There's, and that's why I bring that up, because that iceberg effect, if you will, it's that other 90% that people don't see, and what you went through. I mean, to be there and be able to, increase your faith, be able to build your strength, lose your weight, focus on what you wanted to build. That's a lot. It's a lot to turn around. It's a good focus on the positive. Like you said, once you started changing your mindset, that's what really helped you to grow and to see the possibilities.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. Now, I've seen this come up. I don't know why. I thought of it the other day when I was going over some information for you, and I've seen this come up a lot on social media. And I had to ask you, I said, what do you think comes first, the motivation to work out, or working out helps motivation?
Oh, it's always action comes before motivation. Yeah, we have this myth. I call it the magic motivation fairy. That it's not gonna visit you. There's I work out I try to do something every day. Something for my fitness every day. 8, 9 times out of 10, I don't really feel like it.
Yeah.
It's just what I'm gonna do. Here's a great tip. Just tell yourself I'm gonna do 5 minutes. If you can just talk yourself into 5 minutes, because they say that the heaviest way to the gym is the front door. If you can just get there, that's the battle's done. I tell my clients, just show up and the magic will happen. Whether you get the greatest workout in the world or the most terrible workout in the world, you got the workout in. So just to walk to the mailbox.
Yes.
And then, I got moving. Maybe I'll go to the next light pole and then the one after that. But getting yourself out of that rut and getting going is the absolute hardest part. So you're not going to feel like it most of the time. And you're not going to have that magic motivation fairy that's just going to show up and, now you feel good. I'm going to sprinkle this dust on you. You feel like working out. That's not the way it works. You have to make yourself a person that's going to take action. Whether you don't have to work out for an hour every day to be in great shape. You fit in what you can in your schedule, because 0 minutes is not as good as 5 minutes is always better. Just even if you get that 5 minutes, I tell you, just get a warm up in. If you can do the warm up, most of the time you're going to get that entire workout in. But if not, you got 5 minutes in.
And that's a great reminder. I know Zig Ziglar talked about that too. When he was working out and losing all the weight he wanted to lose, he went from a mailbox to the next mailbox to one more. You build on that scenario, and that's a great reminder for people. It doesn't take a lot to get going. Nobody's asking you to run a marathon tomorrow. Just start. That's key. We
all get caught up in that we have to eat chicken and broccoli every meal, and you have to work out for 2 hours every day. Because if you look at the gym in January, that's what's happening, right? Yeah. Everyone's getting their New Year's resolutions, and I'm gonna get all the results in week 1, and then week 2 they start falling off. Week 3, because you can't keep that pace up, because it's impossible. You got to find something that fits your lifestyle and is sustainable. Consistent actions. That's what you're looking for.
And that's helpful to people, that consistent action, because you think about a workout, that's what it is consistent action. And you change it up, but it's that consistent action of repetitive actions that will help you to grow the muscles, change, and you change it every 2-3 weeks to help grow. So that's some great scenarios with that. How do you integrate positivity? You have your podcast, Relentless Positivity, which is a great show. How do you integrate that into working out? Because people, I could just picture people, oh, here we go, got to work out. They're not real like, yeah, let's go. Yeah. So how do you integrate that into your workouts? How do you do that?
For me, I set the tone, right? If I show up and I'm all mopey and I'm tired because it's 5, I get up at 4 o'clock every morning. That's the only hard thing I do all day long is get up early. But after that, I could go up there like, oh, I didn't sleep good last night. I'm tired. How are you guys doing? Who wants to be in a good mood with that? My shoulders are down. I'm excited because these are the people that allow me to live my dream, that show up to my classes. So I'm excited to see them every day because, when I wake up every morning, I have the opportunity to change someone's life. Yeah. That's super exciting to me. So number one, I set the tone on that. And then here's another little tip, little secret for you. Exercise does not have to be miserable. Yeah. What?
Yeah, I know. That's crazy talk.
Who are you, right? So we try to focus on making the exercise fun. There's the basics of exercise. There's squatting and pushing and pulling and all these basic things, but you don't have to do them the same exact way all the time. Right. They're going to be the same basic build every one of our workouts. We're going to do something fun. We're going to integrate games into them. Now they do have to put up with my dad joke every day, so they do have to face that. That's a mixed review. Rarely gets a laugh, but I laugh at it. That's who it's for. And then it's a community atmosphere. Getting around other people is so like having an accountability partner. Someone, hey, where were you? I'm going to check in on them, but they also have people in their classes that will check up on them. And that means, it's okay if I do it. They appreciate that, but it means much more when someone in the class, it's one of your buddies like, hey, where were you? We missed you today. That matters. But a lot of gyms, if you're just, kind of a number, they have 5,000 members or something like that. They don't know if you're not there. Right. And so you could be paying all the way up into, September when you joined in January, and you haven't been back since that first week in January. Nobody knows.
Yeah, because you hurt, and that's, you definitely, it's interesting that static you talk about, that statistic of first week of January, first month of January, if you will, there's a lot of people in the gym now. Not so much, especially here in Florida, because the weather gets real nice.
Right.
All of a sudden, boom, you want to go to the gym, go on a Sunday afternoon. There's nobody in the gym.
Nobody there. Yeah.
They're at the beach. So,
Yeah, I don't blame them. And that's another thing. If you could get a workout at the beach, how would that not beat the gym every day, right?
Yeah, I mean, people forget you can get natural workouts. You want to jog, run in the forest. The greenery does you some great wonders. Run in a park. Swim against the waves. Don't do it during a hurricane, but
that's recommended. That's good advice right there. But you make a good point though that there's so many ways to work out. Like I just tell people, you need to find a way that you enjoy moving your body and do that on a consistent basis. Yeah. If you think that CrossFit is the greatest workout in the world and you will do it consistently, awesome, do that. Yeah. If you like Zumba or if you like walking or swimming or whatever it is and you enjoy doing it, you'll keep doing it on a consistent basis. That is the greatest workout for you. People ask me, what's the best workout? The one you'll actually do.
Yeah.
I could have the greatest workout plan ever written out for you, but you hate it and won't do it. It's worthless, right?
Yeah.
If you have something that you remember when there was prancercise, you remember when that lady was prancercising, buddy? That'd be a great fitness plan right there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, there's all kinds of ways, and mothers have it too, chase a few kids around.
Oh man,
day, that's a workout. You picking them up and down, constantly running, keeping your eyes, you got to keep your eyes alert. Where are they? What are they doing? What are they getting into? It is a lot. So,
sure.
And like you said, being outside, walking, doing something outside is so important because I know,
key, yeah.
Up north and so forth, a lot of times, you can't during the winter. You got to go into the gym. I get that. But if you can get outside, it is such a beneficial thing, riding
Absolutely.
a bike or just enjoying that. Now, the other thing too, as we stated, you're committed to making the world a better place physically and mentally. How do you do that with your workouts? I mean, you mentioned a couple things. Tell us some more about that if you could.
Well, for me, my opinion is if you want to change the world, you start with moms. If you look at the stats, they decide what the family spends their money on. They decide, for the most part, what kind of groceries we're buying, what kind of activities we're going to do. They decide pretty much what's going on. If you're like me as a husband, I'm most like, all right.
Yeah.
For the most part,
right,
man,
exactly.
I'm pretty laid back about the whole thing. So, then there's stats to back it up. It's crazy the amount of spending power that moms have. So if you look at where you're spending your time, your money, and your food, and the person deciding that, and it's going to trickle down. Because if mom decides, hey, here's what we're doing, guess what? Most of the time, the family's going to fall in line. So, and that's what I'm doing. So if I can get them and we talk to them about their nutrition, talk about stress management. Stress management is a huge part. Their sleep, all these things. I think about the other 23 hours. So the 1 hour workout's very important. Don't get me wrong. But that other 23 hours, you can make or break your results then. So if you're if you're redlining, you're stressed and you're not eating right and all these things, your workout's not going to matter. Yeah. You can't overcome those things. We have to address those outside of the class as well. And you think about how your relationships are when you're not sleeping, when you are stressed out and you're busy and all these things, your family's going to suffer for that as well. Because it all starts with you. If you can kind of start, some people like the analogy, some people don't about the, putting the oxygen mask on first, you got to do that. It sounds selfish, but it's something you have to do.
How can you help anybody else if you're not okay yourself?
Right.
That's the way I look at it. You got to have that energy. You got to be able to have that breath in your lungs to be able to help somebody else. So put it on yourself. It doesn't take that long. It's a few seconds and then get and help others. But great points you're making there, because if the other thing I'm thinking of is, okay, you see mom, all of a sudden she's turning around. Yeah. Her nutrition, her physique is starting to look different. You're seeing, wow, what's going on with that? I want to do that. That's basically how I started working out. I was just probably 14, 15. Yeah. About that age. And my good friend of mine lived down the street. His brother worked for the road crew. Well, he was built. He'd work out all the time. He's built, Park Greek, and he'd be on the road crew. And this is before texting and cell phone stuff. So girls would pull up at a stop sign or something. He'd be working on something on the side of the road. And all of a sudden 3 girls hand him their number. I'm like, hey, wait a second here. That looks like a good plan. What's he doing? Yeah. And figure out, okay, he's working out. He's getting in shape. And so that's, an idea that seeing that the results of that, if it's something that triggers you to do and take that action, so critical.
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, you can say stuff all day long as a parent, but they're going to see how you live your life. You know,
Yeah.
if you're saying, hey, you should really eat right and exercise, but you're over there, eating pizza and drinking Budweiser every night, that's probably not going to trickle down to them,
Right.
But if they see you and you're a fit person and you live what you're preaching, it's going to mean a whole lot. Oh, this is important to them. I should probably look into this.
Yeah. Yeah. And it keeps your mind clear, keeps your body, I don't like the doctors. So no offense to any doctors, but hey, if I don't need to go to them, I'm not going to. I can keep, pretty well on my own with the exercise. Really keeps a lot of colds and different things from you. I think it builds up your immunity, builds up your strength in your body. So yeah, if you can, definitely do that.
Right.
It's interesting too, because you talked a little bit about this. You mentioned this, workouts should be fun. How do you make people smile and feel good? I mean, that's a little bit different for most gyms. I think that's interesting. What are some of the things you do? You mentioned playing some games and different things, integrating games into your workout. What else do you do?
I'll just give an example of what we did a couple weeks ago. We did a boot camp bingo. So they got their bingo cards, and you come and get your number, and every number is a corresponding exercise, on this big board over there. And we're not doing anything different. It's still squats and push-ups and presses and all these different things, but it's a little bit different way. You're going to integrate your cardio, where you run over there, grab the number, check it out, then you go back and get a strength exercise. And next thing you know, 45 minutes is gone and you're dripping in sweat. You burned 800 calories and you got bingo, man. What's better than that, right? So just figuring out ways to make it an interesting workout. And we are outside, like you talked about. So man, the possibilities are endless. You're not in this little square for the whole time. They have, we have some equipment, but a lot of the body weight base. We do some dumbbells, kettlebells or bands or whatever it is. But learning how to use your body, people have kind of forgotten that, because we do a lot of strength-based stuff, because your independence is based on your strength levels, right? When you can no longer stand up out of that chair on your own or get off the toilet or whatever it is, that's when you have to go to assisted living. Someone else is going to have to start taking care of you. And that's where your strength comes from. We talked about all these things, but I call it the fountain of youth. Strength training is a fountain of youth, because you got to have it for sure.
And seeing that down here firsthand, I mean, that is so critical, because that's when you said it, when older people will start going to nursing homes and facilities for that, when they've been in a wheelchair or they get wheelchair bound or they broke a hip or their knee and they can't build that strength into their daily lifestyles. That's important. We have to continue to do that. I know it's not easy for older people. Like you said, it's you've seen it in hospitals, that rehabilitation that takes time, and it's so important to have that mobility, have that flexibility, have that ability to be able to do that. Otherwise you are going into a dependent living type of scenario, and that's hard for a lot of people. That's a hard, it's a mental thing. The people that do that job, it's a hard job.
Absolutely.
And it's not necessary. Sometimes you don't get the best people in those scenarios, and that can be damaging too. But, anything we can do to help that mobility, continue that mobility, we ought to try it.
I mean, we don't want to just live forever, right? We want quality of life. We don't want to just keep living all these years, in an unhealthy way and not feeling good and not being at our best. So why not maximize those years, right? And there's little choices you can make that you're 100% control of. You don't have control of your genetics and a lot of the weather or a lot of these things out there, but you got to control how you spend your day. For the most part, most of us do. There's probably 8, 10, 12 hours a day you have to be at work somewhere. But the other hours, they're up to you, and you can make a huge change in those hours.
And that you mentioned that earlier too, because I think that's an interesting point people should notice too in their daily lives. If you have the opportunity to wake up, that's a great start.
Absolutely.
Some people don't have that.
Right.
I don't care what time of day it is, but if you woke up, it's a great day. So let's make the most of that day. Let's continue that idea that we have a blessing in our hands. How are we going to make that grow? How are we going to make it shine so other people can see that?
That's a great way to put it, man. That's what I try to tell people too. I mean, if you woke up, you got a chance, right? Whatever it is, whatever you feel like doing, you can do it, because you've got to wake up.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a clean slate. Yesterday is gone. It's in the books. We can't do anything about it. Let's move forward and, make a difference with what we have and what we can do.
Absolutely.
So it's interesting too, because part of your TED Talk, I appreciated some of the verbiage you said in there. It's one of the things you said that really struck me is telling people you matter and people love you. I think that's critical to realize, even in a scenario like you have with working out, you matter, and people love you. Your family loves you. The people around you love you. You know, we want to see good things from people. And sometimes that means, you know, making the best of it. How else do you grow that in your environments? You mentioned working out outside. Is that part of, if you will, that overview of seeing the good in everything?
Yeah, and you said it, letting people know they do matter, because a lot of us, we kind of keep our feelings close to the vest, right? We don't want to put ourselves out there and tell people things that, hey, I really appreciated you, holding the door for me, something small like that, just letting people know they matter. Because, here's my mind-blowing proposition here. Everyone put on this earth has a special purpose that only they can fulfill. Right now, that's my belief, that God put us on here, that there's one thing I can do, and I'm the only one who can do it. It's my job to figure out what that is. I think I found it. I hope this is what it is. But if not, I got my eyes open. But only I can do this, right? And only you can do what you do. So, and finding people that they matter, and there's something they're meant to do in this life that matters to other people, that's going to make a dent in the world. That could, if you've raised a kid, man, you've changed the world. People, moms kind of get down on themselves, and like, well, I was like, man, you had a human inside you. And that human is now at college. How crazy. That's a miracle, man. That they made it through 9 months inside you, came out, you raised them, of all the things that could be going on in the world, and then they're off on their own. That's an amazing thing. We forget the modern day miracles that are out there all around us. And just keep getting people's eyes open to things like that, that maybe we forgot how incredible it is to get up out of bed in the morning. Hey, man, I just lost my brother in February. He's 47 years old. So he had 47 years on this earth. That's all he got. And so tomorrow is not promised. That's been a thing for me, that I've been getting better at telling people how I feel about them, because you never know. I was lucky enough that the last thing I said to my brother was, hey, I love you, bro. And he said, I love you back. I didn't know that was going to be the last time that we were going to talk. So, man, that was a blessing that we got to do that. So I don't want that to ever happen again to someone I care about. So I'm getting better at letting people know, what I think about them, if I care about them, and just giving compliments out, not hold them in. Why do we hold those in? Just, you always go to, like, I've been to a funeral 2 days ago. A friend of mine died of cancer, 43 years old. And, you hear about all these things like, oh, I didn't know that about this person. That you hear about these amazing things this person has done and accomplished and helped. And like, man, we should do that while people are still alive. They can appreciate us talking about them, So I've made that a goal since I've had these losses in my life to, hey, let people know how you feel. It really matters. It's like, oh, I didn't know you felt like that, or I didn't know you did that. So it's been a thing that really opened my eyes.
And that's a good reminder to people, that simple thing that, tell them, okay, simple manners go a long way. Holding that door for somebody, having a smile to somebody. I always try to do that going through drive-through with somebody at a drive-through window. I know it's not an easy job, and you may not like the pay, whatever. Okay, hey, nice smile today, or thank you for being here today. I really appreciate it. Lunchtime crowd, whatever. They're, busy as heck. And then they look at you kind of like, what? And it's always funny, because it's just that simple appreciation, saying thank you. And they're like, wow, somebody does care. And it definitely makes a difference. It makes a difference for me and them. So I appreciate that.
So my son plays basketball, and he goes to all these tournaments, and they have referees that, hey, a lot of them they're just there to get a couple bucks. It's not their life's passion. So man, they're usually not the greatest, not to talk bad about, man, that's a hard job. My son's 16 and these guys are super fast. So it's tough to keep up with the game. So they get yelled at a lot. People get frustrated. No matter how the game goes, I try to go out of my way and say, hey, thanks for being here. Thanks for being here. Because without them, you can't have the game. Right?
Exactly.
No matter how bad they are. Like, I coach football, and there's a referee shortage. There's some baseball teams in my area that weren't able to play games because nobody wants to umpire. Because that is a thankless job.
It is.
If you just go up, at first they're like, why is this guy approaching me?
Exactly.
There's been some people like fighting refs, right? So I kind of approach, like, hands behind my back or my pockets or something, like, hey man, I appreciate you guys being out here. Thank you. And they're like, oh. They're kind of,
I love that look. What?
They're waiting for the next shoe to drop, right? So, but man, you can't play the game without them. Whether you hate them or love them, you can't do it without them. And they're human like the rest of us. So
it's a volunteer position. And it's always interesting to me that, a ref might get, $20 to $50 a game, depending on what the game is, but it's a thankless job. It's a simple, scenario that these are coaches are volunteers.
Yeah.
Don't scream at the coach. Your kid's not getting a scholarship today. Okay. They're just playing a game. Let's keep it real and enjoy right now.
Right.
Well, Joe, if you can, let's tell people where they can get a hold of you, website, all that information, because I want to make sure people are able to get a hold of you and see what else you're doing.
Yeah, kind of the hub of everything would be huntsvillebootcamp.com. It's got the link to my book on there. It's got the link to my podcast on there. It's got a link to what all we do at boot camp. We could do some online classes if people are looking to train with us on that. All you need is an exercise mat, some dumbbells. It's got a free 21-day detox on there, and this isn't one where you have to drink a bunch of crazy potions or anything like that. It's just getting back to the basics of how your body actually eats, which most of us don't do that. So it's just a detox that way. It's getting all the junk out of your life. So that's a 21-day. It's a great program. Try it out for free. It will also sign you up for my email list, which I have amazing emails, Bob. You gotta read these things, man. Yeah. So I'm just patting myself on the back on those. But yeah, they just you can check that out. And if you don't like the emails, you can always unsubscribe. It hurts my feelings, but you can always unsubscribe. But that's kind of the hub on there. Check out the book. It's also on Amazon. If you want to go on there, Relentless Positivity is the name of the book. Relentless Positivity Podcast is a podcast. There's an excellent episode with this guy named Bob Brumm, an encouragement engineer. You should check him out. You need to check him out. I've heard really good things about him.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But that's great stuff, because what I like is that consistency, that idea of relentless positivity. We need that in our life. Our world can get us down in a blink of an eye, and we don't need that. And you're helping people to continue that fight, not only through physical endeavors, but the mental ones, and keeping that idea of positivity in your life. So thank you so much for doing that. Thank you for being a guest on the Encouragement Engineering Podcast today. I really appreciate your time today and what you offer our world. So thank you, Joe. I appreciate it.
Hey, I appreciate what you're doing out there. And just like you were always talking about too, you get to make a choice, right? You can go either way. Why not choose positive?
Exactly. Go on the upside. It's a lot more fun. I like the green side of the grass.
No doubt. Yeah.
All right, Joe. Well, thank you. You have a great day.
Hey, thanks again for having me.
All right.